Holy moly, do I love cheese. And if you are watching this video, then I know you love cheese as much as me. Now let's imagine getting the cheese super duper crispy and then wrapping it around a breakfast burrito. No, you did not just die and go to breakfast heaven. This is real life. We are gonna make crispy cheese burritos with chorizo and eggs. I did not invent wrapping a burrito in crispy cheese. This recipe is actually inspired by a couple of versions that I had at some taco trucks in Los Angeles. But as you can see, I am in the mountains of New York and it is literally snowing outside and the nearest taco place is probably 65 miles away. So I've got to do what I've got to do to get that crispy cheese burrito fix. First thing we're gonna do is make our filling. I've got a large skillet here and we're just gonna go ahead and heat 1 tablespoon of either vegetable or canola oil. And then we're gonna go ahead and add some Mexican style chorizo. Do not confuse that with Spanish style, which is cured, so it's dry. You really wanna get the fresh stuff. Add our chorizo in there. We're gonna start cooking it. And we're cooking this over about medium-high heat. You really wanna render out some of that fat. It's gonna add a ton of flavor to these burritos. By the way, if your sausage had any sort of casings on it, you just wanna make sure you remove that before you cook it. While that cooks, let's go ahead and prep a couple other ingredients. We want about 1/4 cup of finely chopped white onion. White onions are usually pretty big, so you just need sort of a small wedge. Go ahead and mince that up. Does not have to be perfect, but you do want it cut pretty small so that it cooks quickly. Let's go ahead and add that onion right into the skillet. We're gonna cook this for another 2 minutes. We want about 2 tablespoons of minced jalapeno. I like to leave the seeds in here because I like to add a ton of extra heat. I'm just gonna go ahead and use half of this. The other half I'm gonna save and sort of slice it up so we can garnish our burritos at the end. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that in half. I'm gonna thinly slice this and then run my knife in the other direction to mince it up. This looks good. The onion is just softened, so we're gonna go ahead and turn off that heat, get this jalapeno into the skillet. We're gonna add a lot of extra protein here. We are gonna add some black beans. These are rinsed, they're drained, and this is about 3/4 of a cup. Last but certainly not least, to this filling, we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro, which is just gonna give us even more fresh flavor. First part of our filling is done and it is packed with flavor. We need to use our skillet for part 2 of the filling. So let's go ahead and transfer that to either a plate or a bowl and then go ahead and wipe out your skillet. This recipe makes 4 crispy cheese burritos. So for that, we need about 6 eggs. I guess you could say that's 1.5 eggs per person if I do my math right. So 6 divided by 4, carry the 1 and the 2. I don't think there's a 2 in it. Okay, I think it's 1.5, whatever. 6 eggs, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. We're gonna add a little pinch of salt and then give these a good whisk. We are gonna get our skillet back over the heat. To the skillet, we're just gonna add a little bit more canola or vegetable oil, about 1 tablespoon. Get this nice and hot, spread that oil around. And you're just gonna cook this like you would any scrambled eggs. Ooh, look at these, they're silky. Do not wanna overcook these. They should just be set here. If they're still a little glossy when you take them out of the skillet, even better. Let's go ahead and get the eggs onto a plate or into a bowl. Do not abandon that skillet yet because we are using it again. Yes, we are taking it to round 3, and that's where we're gonna get that cheese really crispy. But we're not quite there yet because we need to prepare our cheese. This recipe calls for 8 ounces of sharp cheddar and get shredded. I feel like shredding, is that like a gym term? Shredded? This is the only shredded I'm gonna get. Okay, 8 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese, shredded. Oh, it fell. Look at this. Oh, I could just look at it all day, just like this. We also need to get some avocado ready. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it into 8 wedges. So I cut it in half and then cut each of these halves into 4 little wedges. The moment we've been waiting for. Okay, we're going back to that skillet, like I said, and you wanna make sure it is a non-stick skillet because we are cooking that cheese directly in the pan with no fat at all. Your pan should be off of the heat at this point, and you're gonna take a 1/2 cup of that shredded cheese and sprinkle it in a 7-inch circle. This circle should be about 7 inches because we're using 8-inch flour tortillas. Medium-high heat. It's gonna take just really not that long at all because cheese is melty. Once your cheese starts to sizzle and is almost completely melted, here's where our flour tortilla comes in. You're gonna place it directly on top of the cheese, and you can either use your hand or just sort of a spatula to sort of press down, because what you want to do is sort of spread out that cheese a little bit. Just a couple minutes of cooking with that tortilla on top, and that cheese is getting golden and it is getting crispy, and you're gonna love this. Take a look. Oh yes, oh gosh. Okay, so you gotta work a little quick here. Sort of knock that heat back to way low. If you have to, sort of slide the skillet off the heat. So you wanna put a little bit of that chorizo mixture, you wanna do a little bit of that egg, and then we're gonna add a couple wedges of that avocado. You're just gonna go ahead and slide thing right onto your plate. And you're gonna let it hang out for like 30 seconds, maybe a minute. What you want is that cheese to start to crisp up right before you roll, but you don't want it to be so crispy that it breaks off. All you're gonna do is roll that crispy cheesy blanket all around the filling. I mean, look at this. Let's go ahead and cut it in half. You can hear it. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, looks so good. You could eat it just like this. I'm gonna take it one step further. I'm gonna hit it with a little salsa verde. I'm gonna scatter a little bit of sliced jalapeno and then some fresh cilantro. I cannot wait another minute to eat this burrito. That filling has so much flavor, and I gotta say, nothing in this entire world comes close to this addictive blanket that is covering this burrito. This is the breakfast burrito of champions. You are gonna love this recipe, and do not forget to let me know what you think in the comments. I'm gonna cry.